Introducing the Past Present Feature Film Festival, a new showcase celebrating cinematic storytelling across time. From bold proof-of-concept shorts to standout new films lighting up the circuit to overlooked features that deserve another look. Sponsored by the Past Present Feature podcast and Leica Camera, all films screen in Hollywood using Leica's CineWay projector. Submit now at filmfreeway.com/past-present-feature. The past, the present, the future of film, all under one spotlight. Welcome to the Past Present Feature podcast.
Cara Cusumano, Director of Programming for the Tribeca Festival, joins Past Present Feature as the festival celebrates its 25th year. She pulls back the curtain on how one of the world's premier film festivals selects its films, and how curation, audience, and timing shape every lineup. Along the way, Cara reflects on the films and filmmakers that shaped her own cinematic taste, from F for Fake, Jiro Dreams of Sushi, to the fiction work of David Fincher, Agnès Varda, and Steven Spielberg. The conversation also explores Tribeca's origins following 9/11, the future of film festivals in the streaming era, why filmmakers shouldn't let deadlines dictate their creative process, and why the stories that resonate most are often the ones that keep moving, staying one step ahead of their audience, and continuing to surprise us. How are you doing? What's going on?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm pretty good. I'm busy. I'm happy. I'm fatigued a little bit. I'm a little tired because I think I'm doing too much stuff, but I'm good. You know what I mean? I know you know what I mean.
I mean, we're post-festival now, so I'm having a little bit of a
Okay.
in a different headspace than when you last saw me. We're in the middle of it. We're already thinking about next year, though. So.
Are you really?
Oh yeah.
Wow. So the festival's been over for 1 week, 2 weeks?
2 weeks. But I mean, we open for submissions again, sort of end of the summer. So anything we're going to do, if we're making big changes or small changes, we want to have that in place kind of before we get going again. So it's actually a pretty short window.
Got you. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to do that interview. I love talking to festival programmers. It's very informative for filmmakers, you know? Like, why didn't they pick me?
Yeah.
Or they're only about what this or that. It's like, none of that is probably true.
It's hard. Yeah, anything we can do to increase the kind of visibility of the actual process, I think helps.
Nice. Yeah, it seems like you guys are very open. I've interviewed Tom Powers, Anya at Sundance, and some other people. And yeah, it was really nice. Really, really nice to just get the breakdown.
We wildly disagree with each other.
I mean, it's just like, hey, we're your friends. We want you to succeed. That seems to be the kind of takeaway.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the work is so personal, so it's very hard. I mean, you're giving me over to a total stranger, and I get it.
So many slots, and just because you get in doesn't mean that your thing's not good enough. It's just a matter of, does it fit with that program, maybe that year, or et cetera?
We have 14,000 submissions, and it's not like we then sort of rank them 1 to 14,000 and the top 100 films get in. It's really about creating a program that works well together, that is right for our audience, that is sort of telling a story that we think is unique and exciting and balances parts of the world and first-time filmmakers and bigger names. And so it's sort of we're like DJs in a way to kind of experience. And I think sometimes if people don't get in, they read that as like an objective kind of evaluation of overall quality, and it's not necessarily that. Lots of things aren't a fit for various reasons, and we definitely want to have people keep coming back to us with work, because just because one thing didn't work in 1 year doesn't mean we don't want to support you in different ways.
You seem very accessible and cool and normal and chill and open. Thank you for that. It's nice to feel like these festivals are in good hands with like normal seeming people.
Of course. I mean, I think that is the thing we hope to convey too, is like the festival is only good if the films are good. Like, we actively want to find good work and support new directors and discover things. Like, that's our bread and butter. So I think I fear occasionally the feeling that we are adversarial somehow to the filmmakers who are submitting, and truly we are your biggest cheerleaders and allies.
All right, let's go back to you, the young Cara. First moment, do you have any memories, early memories of like film falling in love with film, a movie that you always think about?
Probably from my mom, and just growing up with my mom, she loved movies, and every Friday night would be sort of movie night, and we'd get a
Oh,
pizza and we'd rent something, and it was just what she wanted to watch. But that was how I saw. I vividly remember seeing Gone with the Wind with her
oh,
that way. I vividly remember seeing Say Anything, which probably at the time was like a new release movie, like it just come out.
mm.
Uh, and then, growing up, was sort of a latchkey kid. I would go home after school, and I had a Blockbuster card as my babysitter, so I would just go shop and watch things, and it didn't occur to me that that was a career path for quite a long time. It was even a particular like passion. It was just kind of what you do, and only much later was I like, oh, this is not what everybody does. This is something that I can actually do as my job.
Nice. Yeah, we have to talk a minute about the experience, the Blockbuster experience, going in there. Just the whole situation. I mean, any video store, but especially Blockbuster, it was like you had the little turnstile situation where you would come in the door, the drop-off box was right there, and you had the blue Blockbuster branding, and you'd see your friends in there. Just the experience, the communal experience of going to the video store. It
I mean,
wasn't just selecting something off of a streaming platform, not to knock streamers, but, and
yeah,
it was,
just
yeah.
discoverability has changed so much, and I think maybe that's something that has led me to do what I do in festivals. I loved that experience. I would spend hours and hours, reading the backs of old slasher horror movies and looking at the
Ugh.
art, and I'm a collector, so just like over time to feel like I've watched everything on this wall was very gratifying
Oh
to
my
me.
God.
And that's sort of how you put the festival together too, is like I'm collecting this group of films that I love, and I get to kind of put that out to the world um and just share it.
The word curation would come to mind, right? At the end of the day, they have to decide what they're going to have inside those four walls, right? You can't have everything. There's more of an exclusivity whenever you don't have every option available. But it's like, these are your choices. Something about that gives me, I don't know, comfort.
And it
It's
leaves
nice.
for surprise. I think sometimes the algorithmic nature of how we are served content right now is just to say, oh, you like X, here's more X forever. And I always, some of my most memorable discoveries were something I had no idea what it was, but I
Mm.
grabbed that video out of the store, or that was what was on late night on HBO, and suddenly I've discovered a whole new world that I didn't know existed.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. It wasn't catering to you like, oh, here's for you. Here's for you. It's like, you don't know me, Netflix. And then it's like, yeah, you do
Right.
sometimes.
I contain multitudes. I like my trashy
Yeah.
crime as much as I like my prestige
I
auteurs.
Also, the fact that whatever you wanted to watch that night might not be available. That was a big deal. I remember Double Impact, Jean-Claude Van Damme. That was a movie that was never in for like 4 months and made me want to see it even more, just the lack of supply. I'm like, oh,
Yes.
God, everybody's watching it except for me. And
Scarcity. You gotta go
yeah.
to the theater, or you gotta watch it when it's on TV at 8 p.m. on Thursday. Like, there was more
Hmm.
sort of appointment viewing of things, which it feeds again into that communal experience and that feeling of like you have to do it. There's a time crunch on having that experience with everybody.
Hmm. I mean, even like Mubi, like I had a subscription, but the streamer, I appreciate how their kind of model is where they have like 10 or 20 movies at one time and then kind
Mhm.
of rotate in and out, and it's just an exclusive experience and it's all festival films. I really, that's a cool kind of counter to like the other platforms, where it's like,
Yeah,
we'll
it's
give you
spiritual
everything.
too. I mean, it's very much like a festival way of thinking about it too, of you trust their taste and their brand and feel like that is aligned with what you're looking for. And it doesn't mean you're going to love every single thing, but
Hmm.
at least you're going to have a point of view.
And a lot of these movies that you would never watch, when you do watch them, that even if like they're not your cup of tea at the beginning, but by the end, they can really change you a lot of times, right? Some of these films. I just think about the first time we had this. I'm from North Carolina, and I was in Wilmington for quite a while, and it's a nice little film community there. And there was this guy named Fred Champion. He had these movie nights, and it was the first time I watched John Cassavetes' movie,
Hmm.
A Woman Under the Influence. I never would have watched that if I didn't go over there and just got presented that film. But just remember, like, this was the first kind of like movie where I'm like, oh, if I saw this, I wouldn't have pushed play. But I'm so glad that it changed my whole my whole brain, as far as a filmmaker is concerned.
But I think that so many people that I know anyway who are movie lovers, when you ask the question you just asked me of like what were your kind of foundational experiences with film, it was I was shown something by person X, like a family or a friend, or they saw something they shouldn't have seen like when they were too young. But it is a sort of like pass it on kind of mentality versus being, looking at an algorithmic kind of service.
Fold your laundry and watch us at the same time. Did you ever make films? Were you ever a filmmaker?
I made one short film.
Okay.
Probably almost 10 years ago now, which I enjoyed. It was fun. And I feel like mostly it was really interesting for me because I got to go to festivals and like have the experience as a filmmaker and kind of bring that back to what I found the most rewarding or impactful or meaningful part of going to all these different places and then steal all their good ideas.
Nice. Was there something immediate where you were just like, I want to hang around this space more during that experience?
I went to film school and I was sort of a film student in the academic sense of watching films and writing about them and not really making film. Like I never wanted to be on set. It never drew me in of like to be a director or to be involved in the actual production of films. I just wanted to keep watching movies and
Nice.
proselytizing about the things that I thought were incredible that I feel like other people hadn't seen. And when I was in school, they kind of said you can be a academic or you can be a critic or you could be a filmmaker. The idea of programming and curation was not really on the menu officially. So that was something I found on my own while I was still in grad school. I started programming short films for the Brooklyn Film Festival. And from there, I worked for many years for the Hamptons Film Festival. And then now I've been at Tribeca for almost 20 years. So it was that watching movies and sort of championing filmmakers that no one has ever heard of is a job was very exciting to me. And it didn't feel like I don't really, it was more a blip that I made a film in there versus this somehow one grew out of the other.
Makes sense. So you're from Rhode Island. You're from Providence?
Yeah.
And how did you shout out to Jeremy Workman? I think we already talked about him. He came on a few weeks ago, and
that's my mall. That's the mall.
That's your mom.
Yeah.
And he's awesome. I love just the way he's doing things right now. It seems very appropriate to like what the landscape is. But so Rhode Island though, how did you get from Rhode Island to up in the New York scene?
I was born in New York, and my dad's side of the family are all from here, from the city. And my mom and I moved to Rhode Island, where she's from, when I was a kid. I was like 6, and I stayed there through high school. But I think I always it's not far, so we would always come to New York, and I had a sort of fascination with it, and that was my one kind of non-negotiable when it was time to look at colleges and move. I knew I wanted to be here, so I moved here for college in 2001, September of 2001. So what a time to move to New York. And I feel like that there is sort of a direct line to now being at Tribeca, where my earliest experiences being a New Yorker were 9/11 and the year after that. So when Tribeca was born and all of the feeling that it brought to the city and the community that it built in that very difficult time, I was really a part of and really experienced. So there was just a kind of synergy of all these things when ultimately I ended up working here.
Reminds me, I moved to New Orleans in 2010, and that was the rebirth period. So, right post Katrina. So that reminds me of that as far as how the city was coming together, scrambling to come together, and feeling that kind of, by any means, we're going to be okay kind of energy. Did you move before or not, or right after 9/11?
Before. I had lived here for about a week. I moved, started college in September or like late August. I wasn't like close, but I was in Manhattan, and it was just the feeling now with some distance to it of like this actually mattered. Like sometimes we're doing our thing and we're putting on our event and we're having a good time, and there's this, we make a joke sometimes when things feel stressful and hairy of like we're not saving lives, but to feel like the work actually does matter, and there's a role that Tribeca plays in the history of New York City that's not insignificant and is really meaningful is something that I feel really personally rewarded being a part of, but also feel like I experienced on the other side, like not as someone who helped build it in those early days, but as someone who was really affected by it.
It's those who don't know, Tribeca Film Festival was created because of 9/11 or post 9/11, right? To bring people together, to bring the
Yeah, it
community
was,
together.
Jane Rosenthal and Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro was a longtime resident of Tribeca before it was Tribeca. It was pretty undeveloped when he started living there, and that's his neighborhood. And after 9/11 happened, there was, obviously the mood of the city is very low, and people weren't going out. There was a feeling like you're not really allowed to have fun right now, and certainly downtown, the businesses and the restaurants that were there, nobody was really coming out downtown. So I think as a matter of just kind of civic pride and being a good citizen of their community, they wanted to do something, and their film people and producers and a film festival felt like the right way to kind of turn a page. So that was the first festival, and now we're here 25 years later. It's not about 9/11 anymore, but I think it has really maintained that feeling of being about the community and about New York City and about the way that film can have that power to bring people together.
Oh, yeah, totally. And coincidentally, you had come at the same time to New York. It's so strange, timing-wise.
I was at that first summer. There's a picture of me at that first one. I'll find it one day.
Oh, wow. So you were there. Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
it was like a big outdoor festival, and I went with all my friends in college. It was fun.
So the very first Tribeca was the year after 9/11, I suppose?
Yeah, it was spring of 2002. So
Okay.
less than a year later.
Nice. Damn. Where'd you go to school?
I went
Or
to
college?
Barnard,
Oh, okay. Barnard.
and then I went
Nice.
to NYU for grad school.
Oh, how was NYU? I only asked because it was a fantasy as a filmmaker with all those ads in the film magazines. Did you ever watch the Sundance Channel, I think it was, where they had the film school series where it was like NYU kids? I wanted to go to NYU so bad. How was it?
It's really good. They're really good at the branding. It was. I went to like I said, I didn't sort of realize until pretty late that film could be a job. That was actually like a career path.
Same.
I just thought of it as like a thing that, of course, everybody loves to do. So I was already in college when I decided that was where I wanted to be. And I was at the time, Barnard did not have a film major even. They didn't have a film department. You could study film through Columbia, which I did. But I mainly went to grad school because I was like, I didn't get the complete education that I actually wanted because I was at a school that didn't offer that. So I got a master's in cinema studies, which was great and super fun. And I loved kind of being there. My main goal was sort of stay in New York. And at the time, which again, it was just over 20 years ago, Columbia did not offer a graduate degree in film studies. I think, again, they do now. So I couldn't stay where I was. And and NYU is, the other big university in New York City. So, that's great.
Oh, man. So cool. Also, New York, the city of New York. What a inspiring place. It goes without saying. Just being a young person interested in some sort of art in New York City seems like a perfect formula, recipe.
I mean, New York or nowhere. Like, I just think we're very
Nice.
spoiled, and I'm raising my kids now here, and I feel just so, like, literally whatever they're into or whatever I think that they should be exposed to, there is the best in the world in our backyard. Like, we should go to the zoo. Let's go to the best zoo in the entire country.
Yeah.
Go to the museum. Let me show you like the greatest art from the entire world. My son is really into Godzilla right now, and there used to be like a Godzilla fan convention that happens in Brooklyn.
Look at that. It just so happens.
I'm so lucky to be here, and
Nice.
I can't imagine being anywhere else.
I love New York. I've always been in love with New York. And this last time, a few weeks ago when I met you, the first few days, especially because the Knicks were on fire before they won. The energy was so good and the weather was so perfect and our little project was really fun and it was so good. And then I will say by like day 6 or day 7, my LA ass was like, I'm kind of ready to come home just because I'm used to what I'm used to, you know. It's like city.
New York-y.
Yeah, exactly.
Recently.
Yeah. But it's a beautiful. It's the city as far as I'm concerned. So much love to New York. What makes a film impossible to forget?
I think fundamentally surprising people. And when you watch as many movies as I do, people in our line of work, hundreds of films in a year. There's so many films that are good and so many films that are fine. But you also start to see so many of the same choices, the same stories, the same characterizations, the same visual sensibility. And I get really excited in terms of unforgettable things that stick with me is like, I actually have never seen that before. Or like, you stayed ahead of me. I didn't see where that was going. I think that a film like Barbarian, that was a huge breakout. It's like, just stay ahead of your audience. Just like give them something that they don't see coming. And I think that is just really, really compelling and absorbing.
Did you guys program Barbarian?
We did not.
Oh.
I would have loved it.
Yeah, but that's a good example though. And even Obsession, like, have you seen Obsession yet?
I have seen Obsession.
What the fuck? I'm like, damn you, young man.
But it's the same thing where it's like, keep it moving, man. That you and I were talking about this with like in Obsession. There's another version of that film that would have like really paced it out, like breaks the stick, and now it's like the next day, and like, is this happening? And he's not sure he trusts himself, but it's like, no, she comes right back out of her house, you know? Like, keep it moving. And I think that's the sort of like YouTube sensibility of like, your audiences, you have to capture their attention continuously.
Yeah, there's no negotiation. It's like either you have them or you don't, right? Yeah.
Just push it further, like you have a great idea for a story, but like, what if even more happened? Or what if that idea is like escalated?
Great movie, and I love that it was like on such a small budget too, which just tells us all that, hey man, just like just tighten that script up and make the execution good and work with the actors. And everybody was great, but she was so good.
But tighten that script up. That's good advice. I think it is so easy to make a film just purely technically. Like the tools of production are so accessible these days, which is amazing. One of the reasons our submissions go up and up and up every year. I think it makes it kind of easy to speed right through all that like preparatory work, and especially if you have limited resources and your movie at the end of the day is going to be set in your apartment. Make that script bulletproof. Look at The Invite. The Invite is set in an apartment. I would have told you, like, I am so tired of dinner party movies. I can't take any more. And then The Invite is like one of my favorite movies.
Olivia Wilde's new movie?
It's fantastic. And it's fantastic.
Yeah, I keep hearing it's great. Good for her. Good for them. It's like technique. Don't forget about technique when it comes to all this technology, right? I mean, because it's great to have all this autofocus and all this wonderful color science and cameras, blah, blah, blah. But now it's like it's all comes back to this, what it's always come back to, which is what do you want to do and how do you want to do it, right? What are your goals as far as the story and how you want to tell the film,
have an idea, have a point of view.
Idea, yeah. So I'm a documentary filmmaker. What do you look for when it comes to documentaries?
I'm really drawn to story in documentaries. I think there's a lot of docs that are made out there that are immersive or atmospheric and kind of give you a great sort of sense of place or vibes. But I love a story. I just think some of those documentaries, like the Three Identical Strangers kinds of films, I just can't believe that happened.
Real life is crazy.
It's incredible, and I think again, because we're all filming ourselves all the time now, I think it bodes so well for the future of documentary because everything is captured. You look at films now sometimes that rely on archival material from a certain era. There's limitations just based on what has survived from certain times. But now everybody's filming everything. And I think that is just going to make for some just incredible three-dimensional storytelling for documentaries. You've already seen it happen, but for the future.
The Perfect Neighbor. That one was crazy with the body cam. I guess body cam is like this subgenre now that's really blowing up in documentary.
Which, that film is so powerful, and it just could not have been made in any other way, because if Geeta had been there filming, you can't film in that moment. Like, no one, I think, ethically would shoot that family when what is happening, but because it's captured on this body cam, this is truly the only way that this story could be told, and it lands so powerfully.
This might be a goofy example, but it's like imagine Blair Witch, the first Blair Witch, being shot any other way. Wouldn't be as effective, right? It doesn't pull you in the same way. It doesn't put you there.
It is the same thing, because that is about technology, and that is about that was the first commercial handheld camcorder movie. And now you hear people talking about well, what's the Blair Witch of AI going to be? And nobody has cracked that nut yet.
Whew. Do you have one favorite of all time? Terrible question.
Favorite doc of all time?
Or one of them.
I love F for Fake. I love Jiro Dreams of Sushi.
Oh, yeah.
I love, the name is escaping me now. You know what is good is Dear Zachary, which is brutal but amazing.
I never saw that.
Love Capturing the Freedmans.
Okay, yeah. Did you see Collective, the Romanian documentary?
Yes.
That's my favorite one. I always bring it up when I can. That was the first doc where I'm like, oh, they don't acknowledge the camera at all. This is like straight up like fiction techniques in my mind. You know what I mean? Narrative fiction. It's like, whoa, you can do that. Why can't you do that? Oh, shit. You know what I mean? So now I'm trying to do that as much as possible.
Yeah,
like, don't talk to me. Talk to the other character.
There was so long in the history of documentary that I feel like there was sort of a self-limitation. Not that there weren't certain amazing filmmakers that were branching out beyond that, but there were these sort of guardrails that seemed to be up for whatever reason. And then relatively, like within my career, suddenly it was like, wait, why can't a documentary be a horror movie?
Yeah.
Why can't a documentary be a thriller or a rom-com? And it just like blew the doors off. Like, oh, right, these are movies.
So we had a film called Hollywood PI, and I've been filming it for 5 years. And long story short, we almost got into Sundance, so they said it didn't fit for whatever reason. We ended up getting in Slamdance, and it's appropriate. It's an LA film, LA festival, scrappy movie, scrappy festival. But then we did have a little break in the case, and so we pulled it from Slamdance. And so I guess my question to you is, as a filmmaker, as much as you want to be done as a filmmaker and as much as you want to get some sort of glory, whether it be whatever festival, how do you know when you have to just keep going and when to just say, I'm done?
I will say that it is a not infrequent experience that we have of films that have premiered elsewhere coming to us saying, yeah, but it wasn't really done. Like, this is a totally different movie. We kept working on it. This and this happened in the story, or we had to rush to finish and we aren't happy with it, but now we are. So I guess there's a bit of it if you know, but like, don't let the festival deadlines dictate that if you feel like you're not happy with how it's ending.
That is a thing for sure. People let the festival deadlines dictate. Just focus on the movie being as good as it can be.
It'll all come around again the next year, yeah.
That's true. Yes. And at the end of the day, once you do know that you're all good and done, then you can be at peace, right? I just didn't want to have any regret. I'm always thinking in those terms. What am I going to do where I'm not going to regret as much? So
yeah, I mean,
here I am still working on it.
Because everything, the world keeps going. With narrative films, it makes more sense to sort of structure your timeline around.
Oh my God.
Shoot in your post around deadlines help. You know, that movie has to get done. We can't just sit with it forever. But docs, you know,
the pressure of that fiction film having to make their money back too, I would think is a big factor, right? What about a past programmed film? Do you kind of look back at and you're like, you're most excited to see that filmmaker go on to do some other things? I don't know. What's some of your favorite past programmed films that you had a hand in?
You know, anytime we can have the first work by someone who goes on to be a major voice, it's really exciting. I think, you know, Ryan Coogler's first short film ever world premiered at Tribeca called Locks. And, you know, now Jane sees him at a party and he's like, you had my first short film, you know. Those filmmakers remember that, and it's really meaningful. And Damien Chazelle's first feature, I think before Whiplash, world premiered with us at the festival. We had John Chu, Nia DaCosta. So those stories, I think, are always really satisfying. You know, that's why you do it. You hope that we can kind of find something, see something in someone that hasn't really broken out yet, and play some role in catapulting someone into that next phase, you know, whether that's because of the festival or like that was going to happen for them anyway because they're so talented. I still think it's really feels good to get to be part of that story.
Nice. In a world where, you know, almost everything eventually streams, people are thinking about streamers. Why do film festivals still matter?
I don't know that in my world everyone is thinking about streamers.
Fair enough.
Like, I think think that I think there is a unique experience that is becoming harder to access, of seeing something in a theater together on the big screen. The filmmakers are there. You're the first audience to see it. There's really a special magic. And I think that the infinite accessibility that we live in, of like you can watch any movie at any time on your phone, it, devalues that experience. I think
Oh my
people
gosh.
crave the other experience, and it's hard to find. There's fewer art house cinemas in the world. There are fewer festivals in the world. So when you can create that magic, it feels really special.
What do you think the kind of near future of festivals are?
I do feel a kind of tide turning of like when, there was a moment where like the streamer, there was a lot of momentum and excitement around these different distribution strategies, that it wasn't just like day and date was a big new thing for a while. And it didn't have to be sort of wide theatrical releases for everything. And that felt like it was creating opportunities for filmmakers. And now I feel like there is excitement coming back the other way, of more like micro cinemas, and you see younger people wanting to go to theaters. The people who grew up on such like tech native platforms are longing for a different kind of experience that they never had. They're sort of coming of age now and wanting to have analog experiences. So I hope that we can provide that. We provide different value to different audiences. Fundamentally, a festival, and Tribeca, even a festival to scale Tribeca, is a community event, and we serve New York City, and we serve an audience of people who live here and who love movies. And then, what is the function that we serve and the value we provide to like the industry? Part of me hopes that it's proving that there is financial value in in-person investments in in-person theatrical events.
Yeah, I had the conversation with Tom Powers months ago. I don't even know when that was, half a year ago. And then I was already kind of thinking, man, how do I kind of do like a little live event for my podcast just to get it, to a community place? And so we ended up throwing a film festival, 3-day film festival, past, present, feature film festival. The concept is it's a 3-day festival, and there are 2 double features each day. The short film that opens each feature is a proof of concept for a future feature film. And then the first feature that is shown is a past film that's kind of been either not forgotten, but been just kind of under the rug, or just maybe they didn't catch fire, died away. And then the second feature is something that's currently in the festival circuit, that usually a filmmaker that I interviewed here. So that was the 3 days, and then we had Q&As of each filmmaker. It was great. I had a great time, and it was really cool. So, anyways, I'm doing it again this year.
I feel like just listen to your audience. Like again, that it's easy to kind of drink your own Kool-Aid sometimes. What we're doing is so amazing. And fundamentally, like, are we giving our audiences what they want? Because again, this is a local event for a local community, and what we're in the business of is building community. So making sure that we really understand that audience and are in conversation with them, and that this isn't purely a sort of dictatorial, like, well, here's what I love, getting kind of obsessed with my own taste and showing something that actually isn't going to land the way I think it will with the audience. So I try to always be listening and having that, looking at all the different ways that the festival can be as successful as possible.
It's a great answer. Thank you. After watching thousands of films, has your taste changed? It's been reinforced of what you've always liked more. How does that work?
I think that there is a tendency, like, programmers over time become weirder because, like I said, you want to get surprised. And like when you've seen so much, you get harder and harder to surprise, which can sometimes take you down the path of just weird, or like more and more niche, or more and more obscure. And I have that. Like, I think everybody, wants to scratch that itch sometimes. But I also think that one of the reasons I like programming Tribeca is we are a lot of different things. And I have friends who are programmers for festivals that have a more specific mandate, like a human rights festival, or, a bicycle film festival, or horror festival. Like, I think I would get itchy if I just had to watch one thing all the time. But Tribeca is very liberating, because if I ever, I get to kind of watch for my taste. And if I'm in the mood for The Perfect Neighbor, I have that. And if I'm in the mood for a goofy comedy, I have that. And all of that has a home at Tribeca and makes sense here. So I don't know if my personal taste has changed. I'm waiting for that moment. Like I get the question a lot of like, do you get tired of movies? Or like the burnout must be coming, right? But I think the second, that I start to feel like I'm dreading putting the next thing on, I will reevaluate. But for now, it's like I like it all. I like watching movies.
This is such a broad question, I dare ask, but like, what is it about movies that keeps you coming back? What is it? What is it?
I sometimes resist diagnosing it too much because, like, once you know the magic trick is done, it's not. It's there's no magic anymore. And sometimes me and my colleagues have lamented, like, why did we take the thing that we were passionate about and make it our job? And like now it's hard and stressful. But I do think there is like the movie magic. It's a real thing, and to feel transported and to be, commit 90 minutes of your life and feel like you've, lived 10 lives is a unique ability that this medium has that I find very addictive.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Do you have a favorite filmmaker?
And I feel like my tastes are eclectic. So there are, like, I love Agnès Varda for very different reasons than I love Steven Spielberg. But I will say we once did an exercise at work of like listing just favorite movies. And the overrepresentation of David Fincher was something I didn't even acknowledge until I had made that list. And I was like, oh, I guess I really like David Fincher.
Good. Come on now. So good.
And he hasn't made a bad one yet.
So Christopher Nolan, got to bring him up. The Odyssey, can't wait for that. The first time I saw him, and this is relatable, was in Tribeca. I come out the door and I turn right and I see Christopher Nolan by himself with some headphones in. I'm like, oh my God, there's Christopher Nolan. We pass by and I'm like, okay, I just saw Christopher Nolan. And then I'm like, this is embarrassing, but I'm just going to tell you, I have nothing to do right now. I'm going to follow Christopher Nolan.
Oh my God.
Weird, but only because he made a movie called Following.
New Yorker behavior.
Yeah. But he made a movie about people following people. I can justify it. And I followed him into Tribeca, and we ended up at this cafe, and and it was just one of those things where like he was doctoring his tea, and I was making my coffee, and I just turned to him and I'm like, "Hello, Mr. Nolan, how are you today?" He's like, "Very well, thank you." And then he left, and that was it. He seems he's one of the best ever, I think, and it's kind of cool to meet your heroes a little bit. Tribeca Film Festival. What would you say what is the taste of Tribeca? I mean, it's pretty wide, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the sort of founding impetus was Tribeca as a storytelling festival, and that's been something we've leaned into a lot over the years and has resulted in a program that's pretty interdisciplinary. So I think and we just turned 25, but that actually makes us really kind of the youngest festival on the circuit. So I think that has afforded a certain nimbleness and open-mindedness. So kind of a roundabout way of saying, I think that the taste gets to be a little more flexible, a little more interdisciplinary, a little more adventurous. There's we don't want to box ourselves in, and there's certain kind of like old school way of programming that's auteur driven or very sort of prestige, and we have that. That's like a piece of the pie, but I think we're very audience friendly, and we like stuff that's also just fun or more pop. And mixing that in with like podcasts and talks and music, because I think that's the way that people actually consume stories and films. No one viewer is one thing.
Story driven. Yeah. Nice. How's the podcast situation? It's been 2 years or 3 years since you started that?
Oh, it's been like 7 years. Yeah. It's great. I mean, I think it's anytime we add something to the festival, it's always comes from a place of like, where can we as curators serve a function here? Where are we seeing the creators' work exploding and the audience exploding, but maybe there's not like a curatorial voice that people can go to help make sense of that. And, it started, the first thing there was TV, when it was like, there's so much television all of a sudden. And a lot of the traditional festivals were not really embracing that yet because of this sort of idea of like TV is different than film. And that led us into immersive and VR. And then ultimately, more recently, creators, games, and now podcasts, which is really fun. I think that the challenge is like, what does that look like as a theatrical experience? And but it ends up being really, really cool and giving people a communal way to enjoy something that again, like TV, has sort of historically been a little more solitary. So we do events that are discovery oriented. People are making independent podcasts, and we bring them out and we play a little in the theater, and people can hear from the creators. And then the podcasts are available. And then we do sort of more tentpole type events that are live tapings or sort of theatrical versions of Radiolab that bring the experience kind of into the audience. So
it's called officially the Tribeca Festival now, not just Tribeca Film Festival.
Yeah, I mean, that was the idea, was about, how do we create a name that's more inclusive and representative of all the different kinds of art forms that are at the festival. It is primarily a film festival still.
Sure.
We have 125 feature films, something like 80 short films, and then these other sections like TV and podcasts have more like 10 or 12 events. So so the sort of bedrock of what we do remains films.
Gotcha. If you could program one perfect double feature, a classic and a contemporary film, what would it be?
You're really putting me on the spot. I need
and of course, there's no favorites here. There's no perfection.
My double feature experience is mostly limited to near where I grew up. There was a drive-in theater called the Rustic Tri-View Drive-In. I think it still exists, actually. And I loved the drive. And they always did everything as double features, but it was always like new, like contemporary films. They weren't like curated fun double features, but I have a memory as a kid of going and I'm gonna forget, like the double feature was like a kids movie first, and then kids were supposed to like fall asleep in the car and
that makes sense.
Adults could watch the adult movie after. And I'm gonna forget what the kids whatever it was, some kids movie from the 90s. It was like Homeward Bound or something, but the late night movie, the second movie, was Cliffhanger, the original Cliffhanger, and me and my cousin we like stayed away, we like looked out the back of the car, so we weren't supposed to be watching Cliffhanger, but we stayed up late and we watched it out the back of the car because it's a 3 screens.
And see, that double feature makes sense because the setting is similar, right? This in the mountains. I don't know.
I don't know. I made it up. There you go. I just curated a double feature.
Cliffhanger was the shit. It was so action-packed and fun. Was it Rennie Harlan directed that? Is that correct?
It blew my like 8-year-old mind.
Unbelievable movie, actually. I haven't seen it in years. John Lithgow, though, is the villain.
It's coming out this summer.
Amazing. How old are your kids?
3 and 5.
Okay, mine's 6 going on 7. What is your philosophy on showing them what and at what age?
We take them to everything. I've been taking my kids since I was on maternity leave because the cinema near my house did like all ages screenings, and it's like Tuesday at 10 a.m. I'm on maternity leave, so I would just take my sleeping baby. And my mom says she did the same thing for me, like load them up in formula, knock them out, and then go see a movie. So I took my daughter to everything. I took her to Decision to Leave. I took her to Don't Worry, Darling. Like, what else came out that was like fall of 2000?
Yeah. What was yeah.
And now we go to see everything. My daughter's super excited. She's 3. She's excited for Supergirl. We're gonna definitely see Monsters and Minions.
Nice.
And my son
I took him to see Obsession. I'm kidding. I did not do that.
It's a foundational memory. Someone showed me The Exorcist when I was way too young, and
you seem fine. You turned out great.
I was like, this is it. I'm sold. My son had a very emotional reaction to The Wild Robot. That was like surprisingly emotional. Like I thought we were going to have to leave. And I'm like, I don't think this movie's going to end with the robot dying. Like, let's keep watching. He just couldn't. He had no sense of like, there has to be a part where it looks like our hero is really in peril and then we come back. Like, he doesn't know enough about movies yet to know that the structure that we're going to follow.
Yeah. It's going to be okay.
The robot's dying. And he really got very upset.
That right there might be the magic as a kid of watching films too, where you're not seeing the pattern recognition just yet as far as hero's journey or whatever. And you're like, oh my God. And then they come back. It was okay. And the heroic. It's like, oh.
He knows now. Now he calls it the sad part. He's like, every movie has a sad part. It's an animated movie. It's actually the cat movie. The cat falling in the water was pretty stressful for them consistently.
With the bird.
But then, I don't know if you've seen the movie, but there actually is like a fairly emotionally devastating ending. But I think they just didn't actually get it, which was a relief for me. I was like, is this going to be way too traumatizing? But they didn't register, I think, what was happening.
What would you tell your younger film programmer self if you could go back in time?
Oh my God, I would love to like tip her off on all the amazing movies she should scoop up. I'm like, look out for this one and this one and this one. Get it before Sundance does.
Oh, okay. That happens. Yeah. That makes sense.
don't sweat the small stuff. Like, I think probably what most people say. I think there is the we're not saving lives feeling. I think I took it all like very, very seriously and stressed myself out a lot early in my career when I could have been enjoying it more because this is like a dream job.
Please like and subscribe to this podcast and follow us on social media at Past Present Feature. And let us know in the comments section what movies you're watching. Thank you so much for listening to the Past Present Feature podcast, and we'll see you next time. Peace. Love learning about filmmaking? There's no better film school than actually watching movies in theaters. Revival Hub is your guide to specialty screenings in Los Angeles. Classics on 35mm, director Q&As, rare restorations, and indie gems you won't find on streaming. Revival Hub connects moviegoers with over 200 venues across LA, from the major Revival houses to the 20-seat micro cinemas and more. Whether you're an aspiring filmmaker or just love great cinema, Revival Hub helps you discover the screenings that matter, the ones that'll change how you see movies. Visit revivalhub.com to see what's playing this week. That's REVIVALHUB.com.